54 casualties, days of unrest and protests continue to rock Myanmar. Tear gas, flashbangs and stun grenades. Security forces have intensified their crackdown as the innocent civilians suffer. Here's a look at the most powerful visuals from Myanmar. Despite overnight raids by security forces in Yangon, tens of thousands of people came out onto the streets of Myanmar on Sunday to demonstrate against last month's coup. Into the early hours, soldiers and police moved into several districts of Yangon firing shots. According to the residents, police arrested at least 3. The reason for the arrest is not yet known. A Myanmar soldier pointed a gun at a resident after the person was caught filming an arrest of National League for Democracy Party member. The video showed soldiers guarding against the window of an apartment. Bracing for more protests, demonstrators in Yangon were seen using unusual ways to buy time in order to get away from the soldiers. In Yangon, protesters were seen practicing shield formations in preparation for clashes with police, and anti-coup protesters practiced retreating and advancing with makeshift shields. Protesters have also used some superstitions to stop police from charging at them, like the idea that it is bad luck to walk under traditional clothing. A nun who knelt in front of riot police during protests has said that she was prepared to lay down her life to protect the others. In an interview, she has accused security forces of beating and killing protesters.
Kakoi bemelu, jumado budu kakoi yam leso kopi du chichimbe kakoi yaro me akugaro de no budu ma yongchi lo miyaro bu longchomu le mshi do bu tudo nene hwa phit de lu so akong phan da be yai da be no lai swai da be.
Since the coup started, security forces have been opening fire with stun grenades, rubber bullets and live rounds. According to the United Nations, more than 50 protesters have been killed. Till today, over 1,700 people have been detained under the junta. This excludes figures for overnight detentions. The Southeast Asian country has been plunged into turmoil since the military overthrew and detained elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi. Daily demonstrations and strikes have choked business and paralyzed administrations. The killings have drawn anger in West and have been condemned by most democracies in Asia. The United States and some other Western countries have imposed limited sanctions on the junta. China, meanwhile, has said that the priority should be stability and that other countries should not interfere. And Myanmar has urged India to return the police officers who crossed the border to evade taking orders from the military junta, and around 30 police officers and their families have fled Myanmar and sought refuge in India in the last 1 month. The military's brutal crackdown on dissent continues in the South Asian nation. A senior official from India's Mizoram state has said that she has received a letter from her counterpart in Myanmar requesting the return of the officers. The letter read, and I'm quoting at this point, "In order to uphold friendly relations between the two neighbor countries, you are kindly requested to detain 8 Myanmar police personnel who have arrived in Indian territories and hand over to Myanmar." Note that on Thursday, the Indian police reported that 3 policemen have crossed the border, but the Myanmar authorities' letter mentions 8 officers. Indian state police officials say that they are waiting further instructions from the Home Ministry to act on the situation. The Indian Home Ministry has not yet responded to the request, but on Friday, the Indian External Affairs Ministry said that they were still ascertaining the facts.
म्यांमार के घटनाक्रम पे हम बारीकी से नज़र बनाए हुए हैं, और जैसा कि मैंने पहले बताया था कि हम अपने सहयोगियों से, पार्टनर कंट्रीज से इस बारे में चर्चा करते रहें, और इन बातचीत में हमने कहा है कि इस मुद्दे को शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से मतभेदों को सुलझाना चाहिए, और ये हमारा पक्ष रहा है कि ये वहाँ जो भी स्थिति है वहाँ पे इसको शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से वहाँ जो मतभेद है उनको सुलझना चाहिए।
Myanmar's military overthrew the country's nascent democratic government on the 1st of February. They arrested elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi and her cabinet. And in the last 1 month, the junta took violent measures to quash dissent that continues uprising in the streets. Since the beginning, India has condemned the military actions and has urged the junta to reinstate the elected administration. And as the political crisis escalates and pro-democracy activists hold fresh demonstrations, the United Nations Security Council has held a closed-door meeting to discuss the ongoing situation in Myanmar. The Special Envoy of Secretary General of Myanmar, Christine Schraner Burgener, has pressed on the desperate pleas of thousands of residents and their hope on the actions by international bodies, including the United Nations. She has urged the UN Security Council to take action to stop the violence and restore democracy in the Southeast Asian nation following the February 1st military coup. The United Nations envoy has noted that since her briefing to the General Assembly a week ago, the military brutally unleashed its worst crackdown yet since February 1st, killing a total of around 50 innocent and peaceful protesters while seriously injuring scores more. In conclusion of the meeting, the Special Envoy reminded the collective obligation to defend the defenseless inside the war-torn Myanmar. Meanwhile, Barbara Woodward, permanent representative of the United Kingdom to the United Nations, has said that the UK thinks it is important that the Council is able to speak with one voice to call for an end to violence, the release of those arbitrarily detained and a return to democracy.
We reiterate our calls on the Tatmadaw to respect the rule of law, to release all of those arbitrarily detained, lift the state of emergency and all restrictions on rights and freedom with immediate effect. The United Kingdom supports the role of regional organisations, in particular ASEAN, in resolving the crisis. We'll continue to monitor closely the situation in Myanmar and consider further action through the Security Council in the coming days.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.